I'd like to be protected, and so would you, from all harm and evil. One of the things that the Almighty has done for us in a very, very clear and distinct way is teach us how to protect ourselves from all harm, any harm that can come in our direction. As we are little, obviously the duty is on our parents or those around us. And when we grow a little bit older, I will get to exactly what we're supposed to be doing as believers to protect ourselves. So firstly, if you have little ones, be they little brothers and sisters, or you have a child of your own or a grandchild, isn't it one of the norms of a human being to want to protect them from harm? And for this reason, even if they're cold, what do? You put a blanket on. If they're very hot, what do? You might take off some of the blanket or the warm clothing. You might turn on a fan. Why? You don't want the child to make a sound. You don't want them to cry. When they cry, it bothers you. And Allah says, Allah is much more merciful upon us than our own parents and those around us. So naturally, Allah Almighty would be more interested in protecting us from harm and saving us from the real crying of the Day of Judgment and beyond by telling us, listen, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So do it for yourself and you will be protected not just from the harms in this particular world, but even from that which is to follow in the hereafter. So that's why we realize it's a gift from Allah. Consider it a gift. Thank Allah. Naturally, we love little children, we want to protect them. Allah loves us even more than that and wants to protect us. So what do? Well, we can talk about it from two different angles. One is that which is connected to this world and protection. I want to be protected because as I grow older, I might be first in my class. I might do very well in sports. I might become perhaps something that others haven't. Jealousy may overtake them and they may want to harm me. Look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. His own brothers were jealous of his closeness to his father to begin with. And later on, the brothers were jealous in so many different ways. And that jealousy resulted in them wanting to plan the destruction of their own brother. Who was that? That was shaitan. That was the devil. And how do I know it was the devil? Well, Yusuf alayhi salam was a prophet of Allah. And at some point he says, later on, when everything was exposed, he told his brothers, he said, you know what? I forgive you, don't worry, no retribution today. Allah has blessed me in so many ways and Allah did this for me and that for me. After the time when shaitan had come and separated us. Min ba'di an nazagha ash-shaytanu bayni wa bayna ikhwati. He says after shaitan had come and done what he did. So shaitan wants us to fight, to harm each other. He wants us to be jealous, not realizing by you being jealous of someone, it's not going to give you that thing at all. Ask Allah. So Allah tells you, protect yourself from your own self. Protect yourself from the harm of yourself. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min sharri nafsi. Oh Allah, I seek your protection from the evil of my own self. I'm going to harm my own self. Why? Because your character and conduct has headed in the wrong direction where you are not even protected from your own weaknesses. Isn't it correct for us to say that if we'd like to protect ourselves, the first thing we need to do is protect ourselves from our own evil? Now let's move on to something interesting. I want to protect myself from the harm of others. Well, Allah tells you, get up in the morning, pray. Once you're done with your prayer, or before or after, around about that time, sit for a moment. It will take you 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what exactly you want to ask me. And I want you to go through certain verses of the Quran for your own benefit. Protect yourself. So what you do, read Ayatul Kursi thrice. What's Ayatul Kursi? It's a verse of the Quran that is very powerful in Surah Al-Baqarah. It has in it not just the praise of Allah, but how great He is, and the protection of Allah is mentioned in that verse. If you repeat it thrice, Allah says you will be protected right up to the evening. Protected from what? Harm, jealousy, evil spells, the evil eye, and so on. Add to that the last 2 surahs of the Quran, and if you can, the last 3. So I'm going to read قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ. I've said it once before. There's a lady online, a Russian magician, who was speaking about spells and casting spells and so on, and she was asked, is there any time that it's difficult to cast a spell? She says, yes, Muslims. Straight, Google it, you check it out. She says they pray 5 times a day. It's so hard to cast a spell on them. I promise you, when someone like that tells you, you want to listen. But when Allah told you a long time back, then what? Then what? Then it's okay. Let's see. Try not to forget your Ayatul Kursi. So morning, Allah tells you, you want protection? This is what you do. You read these surahs. You make sure that you spend your day in obedience. Wherever you faltered, quickly turn to me. Ask Allah's forgiveness. In the evening, once the evening comes in, it sets in just before Maghrib, just Maghrib, just immediately after Maghrib, you read it again. What? The same things. Ayatul Kursi, the last three surahs of the Quran, and you add 1 or 2 sunnah supplications such as A'udhu bi kalimatillahi tammati min sharri ma khalaq. I seek protection in all the words of Allah from all the evil that He has created. Seek your protection of Allah from all the evil. You repeat that thrice. Bismillah, in the name of Allah. Alladhi la yadurru ma'asmih, the one with whose name nothing can harm. Fil ardi wala fis sama'i wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. On earth or in the skies, and He is the all-hearing, all-knowing. You repeat that thrice. It's a powerful statement. Powerful statement. Then we need to mention another very interesting point. I tell you, you need to ensure that you don't show off, because today we're living in an age of social media where we generally tend to want to share things with everyone, not realizing that, is it really a religious teaching to share everything with people? And who are you sharing it with? From among them, there are those who love you, those who hate you, those who really are evil people, and they're going to see you. And sometimes a lot of it, we've got something very bad known as photoshopping, so they can't even see the real thing or the real you. Subhanallah. And this is why we say true liberation. Wallahi, my sisters and my brothers, true liberation is when you fall in love with exactly who you are, the way Allah made you. With your blemishes, with your complexion, with your hair type, with your height and your shortness and whatever you're tall, whatever it is that Allah's given you, when you're in love with it and you thank Allah for it the way it is, you are finally liberated. But my brothers and sisters, here we are speaking about protection from all angles. We want to be protected from the harming of our own selves, protection from the harm of other people, protection from that which is superstition and so on. Don't show off, like I said. And one more thing, protect yourself from being harmed in the hereafter. Develop your connection with Allah. That's your maker. Where were you 100 years ago? Where were you? You were with Allah. You're going to go back to the same Allah. Just prepare for that day. By doing what? Be a disciplined person, a good believer, who prays on time, who does things on time, who helps others as well. And one of the primary reasons why Allah wants us to help each other, and every one of us is different, is part of the test. He made all of us, and we need to impress Him and Him alone. To impress Him, we need to be kind to the rest of the creatures He created. It's a big test if you think about it. You think about it, it's a big test. Imagine, I'm just thinking of an example now. Imagine there's a guy or a person whom you really look up to and you really want to impress them because they're perhaps your boss at work, or maybe you do some big business deals with them and so on. And one day you see their children come through. Are you not going to try to be so nice and kind to them because you want the big person above there to think that, oh wow, at least this person's good to my kids, no matter what? So much so that even if they're unruly, you're going to find an excuse for them. No, it's okay, it's okay. They broke a glass in your house, no problem. They broke a second one, no problem. They decided they're enjoying it, they broke a third one, no problem. Why? Just because you're doing some good deals with the Father there. You don't want to be on bad terms. I swear that's human thinking. That's human thinking. But the same human doesn't think that I need to treat the rest of the creatures of Allah, who primarily I would like to impress, in a kind way. The same human being doesn't think that. So you'll have people, Allah will flash them in front of you. Who are they? People who are poor, people who are underprivileged, people who are struggling, people who might not look like you, people who might, whom the world might consider downtrodden, and they will all come in front of you. How are you going to treat them? You're going to say, oh Allah, this is your slave. Here we are. and you're going to be nice to them, and you're going to reach out to them, not because you think they deserve anything or they don't deserve anything, but because you know this is a worshipper of Allah. This is a creature, to say the least, of Allah, and so am I. And because my whole future depends on my relationship with my Maker, I'm going to treat the rest of the creatures of the same Maker with respect, with kindness. And that's when you succeed.